Right now, somewhere in the world, a man is getting down on one knee. He is holding a small box. Inside that box, a diamond ring. He believes this diamond is rare. He believes it is precious. He believes it is the perfect symbol of eternal love. Almost everything he believes was carefully invented by one company less than 100 years ago. This is the story of diamonds, the most successful marketing campaign in human history. A story of geology and greed, of empire and exploitation, of love and lies, and of how one South African mining company convinced the entire world that a common stone was the rarest thing on earth. Diamonds are not actually rare. They are the most common gemstone in the Earth's crust. Billions of carats of diamonds exist beneath the surface of the Earth. Warehouses full of diamonds are held by mining companies and deliberately never released to market to keep prices artificially high. The rarity of diamonds is entirely manufactured, but the story of diamonds does not start with marketing. It starts 3 billion years ago, deep beneath the Earth's surface. Under enormous heat and pressure, carbon atoms were compressed into the hardest natural substance on the planet. Diamond, pure carbon, squeezed so tightly that it became transparent and indestructible. Diamonds formed about 100 miles below the Earth's surface. They were brought up to the surface by ancient volcanic eruptions called kimberlite pipes. These eruptions were so violent that they blasted through the earth like underground explosions, carrying diamonds from deep underground to just below the surface, where humans could eventually find them. The first humans to discover diamonds were in ancient India. Around 300 BC, diamonds were found in the riverbeds and alluvial plains of central India. Ancient Indian texts describe diamonds as something almost supernatural. They were called Vajra, meaning thunderbolt, or Indrayudha, the weapon of the god Indra. Ancient Indians did not cut diamonds. They could not. Diamond is the hardest substance on earth. Nothing cuts a diamond except another diamond. Ancient Indians used diamonds, as they found them, rough and uncut, as talismans for protection, as decorations on religious statues, as tools to engrave other hard materials, not as jewelry, not as symbols of love. For over 1,000 years, India was the only source of diamonds in the world. The famous diamonds of history all came from India. The Koh-i-Noor, now in the British Crown Jewels, the Hope Diamond, now in Washington, D.C., the Regent Diamond, now in the Louvre in Paris. All of them born in Indian riverbeds. When Alexander the Great invaded India in 326 BC, his generals brought back stories of a valley filled with diamonds. But the valley was guarded by enormous serpents whose gaze could kill instantly. To collect the diamonds, merchants threw pieces of meat into the valley. The meat stuck to the diamonds. Eagles swooped down, carried the meat out, and the merchants retrieved the diamonds. This story was told by merchants to protect their diamond sources from competitors. It traveled from India to Persia, from Persia to Arabia, from Arabia to medieval Europe. By the Middle Ages, Europeans believed this story completely. Diamonds arrived in Europe, surrounded by mystery and myth, which made them even more desirable. For most of human history, diamonds were cut very simply, just polished to show their natural shape. Then in the 1400s, Flemish diamond cutters in Bruges and Antwerp discovered something revolutionary. If you cut a diamond at precise angles, it reflected light in a completely new way. The diamond seemed to glow from inside. This internal fire, called brilliance, made diamonds suddenly irresistible to European royalty and nobility. Archduke Maximilian of Austria gave Mary of Burgundy a diamond ring in 1477 as an engagement gift. It was the first recorded diamond engagement ring in history. But it would be 5 centuries before this became a mass tradition. For the next 4 centuries, diamonds remained exclusively for royalty and extreme wealth. Ordinary people never owned diamonds, never expected to own diamonds, never thought about owning diamonds. Then, in 1866, a 15-year-old boy named Erasmus Jacobs was playing on the banks of the Orange River in South Africa. He picked up a shiny pebble. That pebble was a 21-carat diamond. It was named the Eureka diamond. Within 2 years, an 83-carat diamond, called the Star of South Africa, was found nearby. A South African colonial official declared, "This is the rock upon which the future success of South Africa will be built." The South African diamond rush had begun. Thousands of men arrived from Britain, Australia, America, and Europe. The town of Kimberley grew from nothing to a city of 50,000 people in just a few years. Hundreds of separate mining claims were dug into the same hill, creating the largest man-made hole in the world, the Big Hole of Kimberley. Among the miners was a sickly 17-year-old who had been sent to South Africa for his health. His name was Cecil Rhodes. Rhodes was not physically strong, but he was extraordinarily ambitious, and he had a plan, not to dig for diamonds himself, but to own every diamond mine in South Africa. Rhodes began buying up mining claims, one by one, using money from wealthy British investors, including the Rothschild banking family. By 1888, Cecil Rhodes had created De Beers Consolidated Mines, one company controlling 90% of the world's diamond production. The monopoly that would control diamonds for the next century was born. De Beers immediately understood a dangerous problem. South African mines were producing so many diamonds that prices were collapsing. The more diamonds you find, the less each diamond is worth. De Beers made a decision that would define the diamond market forever. They would control not just production, but supply. De Beers built massive stockpiles of diamonds in vaults. They released diamonds to the market, slowly and carefully, in exactly the quantities needed to keep prices high. When new diamond mines were discovered in other countries, De Beers bought them or forced them to sell only through De Beers. Any country that refused faced economic pressure. By the early 1900s, De Beers controlled over 90% of the world's diamond supply. But there was a new problem. Diamond sales were actually declining. The global depression of the 1930s made luxury goods unsellable. Diamonds sat in vaults. De Beers needed something dramatic. They needed to make people want diamonds again, desperately want diamonds. In 1938, De Beers hired an American advertising agency, N.W. Ayer & Son. They were given a seemingly impossible task: make middle-class Americans want to spend 2 months' salary on a diamond ring. They studied American culture carefully, and they created one of the most successful advertising campaigns in history. The campaign had several parts. First, they planted stories in Hollywood movies showing glamorous women receiving diamond engagement rings. Then, they got famous actresses to wear diamonds publicly. Then they sent lecturers to high schools across America talking to teenage girls about the importance of receiving a diamond engagement ring. And then in 1947, a copywriter named Frances Geraghty was working late in her office. She was exhausted. She needed a slogan for the De Beers campaign. She scribbled something on a notepad, almost without thinking. 4 words: "A diamond is forever." She went home. She did not even think it was particularly good. A diamond is forever. Those 4 words changed the world. They accomplished something brilliant. They connected diamonds to the idea of eternal love, but more importantly, they discouraged people from ever selling their diamonds. If your diamond is forever, you never sell it, which means used diamonds never come back to depress the market price. The campaign worked beyond anyone's expectations. In 1939, only 10% of engagement rings in America contained diamonds. By 1990, 80% of engagement rings in America contained diamonds. An entire cultural tradition had been invented from scratch in just 50 years by one company for profit. De Beers then expanded the campaign to Japan. In 1967, less than 5% of Japanese brides received diamond engagement rings. Japan had no tradition of diamond engagement rings whatsoever. De Beers launched a campaign associating diamonds with Western modernity and romance. By 1981, 60% of Japanese brides had diamond rings, but behind the beauty of diamonds was an ugly reality. The mines of South Africa were worked by black African laborers under a brutal system. Workers lived in closed compounds, surrounded by walls and fences. They were searched every day when they left work, even forced to swallow laxatives to prevent them from hiding diamonds in their bodies. Cecil Rhodes used diamond profits to fund his dream of British domination of Africa. He drove African people off their own land. He triggered wars. He exploited entire nations. The wealth from diamonds built the British Empire in southern Africa and destroyed millions of African lives in the process. In the 1990s and 2000s, the world learned about blood diamonds. also called conflict diamonds. In war-torn countries like Sierra Leone, Angola, and the Congo, rebel armies controlled diamond mines. They forced civilians, including children, to mine diamonds at gunpoint. The diamonds were then sold to fund weapons and wars. The 2006 film Blood Diamond, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, brought global attention to the conflict diamond problem. The diamond industry was forced to respond. In 2003, the Kimberley process was established, an international certification scheme to prevent conflict diamonds from entering the legal market. Critics say it does not go far enough, but it was a start. Meanwhile, science was working on something that would challenge diamonds entirely. In the 1950s, scientists at General Electric created the first synthetic diamonds. Diamonds made in a laboratory, using the same carbon and pressure as natural diamonds, but in a machine instead of inside the earth, chemically and physically identical to natural diamonds. For decades, lab-grown diamonds were only used for industrial purposes, cutting tools, drill bits, and abrasives. They were not considered suitable for jewelry. Then technology improved. By 2015, lab-grown diamonds were being cut and polished into jewelry-quality stones, indistinguishable from natural diamonds. Even to expert gemologists, lab-grown diamonds cost 60 to 80% less than mined diamonds. They require no mining, no displaced communities, no blood diamond concerns, and they are chemically completely identical. The diamond industry is now facing its greatest threat since Cecil Rhodes created his monopoly. De Beers' response was fascinating. In 2018, the same company that had spent 100 years insisting diamonds were rare and precious launched its own brand of lab-grown diamonds called Lightbox, selling them cheaply as fashion accessories, not as symbols of eternal love. The company essentially admitted that lab-grown diamonds were real diamonds. The diamond market today is changing faster than at any time in its history. Lab-grown diamond sales are growing 20% every year. Young people increasingly choose them for engagement rings, not because they are cheap, but because they are ethical. The story De Beers invented in 1947 is being rewritten by the generation that inherited it. And what about the famous diamonds of history? The Koh-i-Noor, seized from Indian rulers by the British, is now set in the British crown jewels. India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iran all claim ownership. Britain refuses to return it. A stone ripped from the ground in an Indian riverbed 3,000 years ago is still causing international arguments today. The Hope Diamond, a stunning 45-carat blue diamond, is said to carry a terrible curse. Every owner suffered tragedy. Marie Antoinette, executed. King Louis XVI, executed. Henry Philip Hope, his family lost their fortune. The jeweler Harry Winston donated it to the Smithsonian Institution in 1958, mailing it by ordinary post in a plain brown paper package. From an ancient Indian riverbed to a French queen's neck, from Cecil Rhodes' Monopoly to a copywriter's four-word slogan, from blood diamond wars to laboratory machines, from royal exclusive luxury to a tradition invented for the middle class in less than 80 years. The diamond is the most successfully marketed object in human history. Is a diamond engagement ring a meaningful expression of love, or is it a manufactured tradition designed to make a company rich? Perhaps it is both. The tradition was invented, but the love expressed through it is real, and perhaps that is the most interesting thing about diamonds. A stone with no special power that humanity gave all its power to. The next time you see a diamond, in a ring, in a crown, in a museum case, remember what you are really looking at. 3 billion years of geological history, 10,000 years of human desire, 100 years of brilliant marketing, and the enduring human need to give the ordinary things extraordinary meaning. That is what diamonds are. And that is why they are forever. Thank you for watching this story on Storia English. If you enjoyed learning English through this story, please subscribe to Storia English. Every week we bring you a new story from history, told in clear, slow, simple English, so you can improve your listening, vocabulary, and confidence, naturally, without stress. We will see you in the next story.